Before we can actually start this video here, if you haven't seen the first part of this episode, go check that out real quick. It's only talk about the first column of these vessels, and this one's going to talk about the second half. And like always, there's spoilers of course for this game, so if you don't know anything about it, go watch my playthrough or somebody else to learn more about this game. And one more thing before we actually jump into this video is that if you haven't seen my other video of the baddest vessels, which is the exact same thing as this, but a little bit different, but still regardless, same content, you should probably go check that out. I don't think you regret it. It's the exact same thing. You probably like that as much as you like this one, honestly, and the previous one if you have watched it. But regardless, go check that out real quick. And while you're at it, subscribe. It'll help me out as much as it can, and I'll appreciate it, honestly. But, like always, I won't force you to anyways. So, enough of me talking, and let's start the video now. For the first vessel on the second column here, we have the Eye of the Needle, and this vessel kind of speaks for itself, honestly, as you can just look at her and tell immediately a lot of things about her. And the first thing I'm going to talk about is probably her figure, honestly, where it's just like, oh, she's big. Yes, very big, very thick, and very well toned on muscle behalf, because just like the adversary, which she comes from that path right there, she's still quite strong and taller now, actually. Her height has increased, so I like to say she's now around 9 feet, maybe 10 feet, which is insanely tall, honestly, and that's ridiculous because as far as I'm concerned, I think we're by her chest level, honestly. That's how tall we are, and that is insane growth spurt right there. Insane. When we talked to her, we were up to her neck level, basically, for the adversary. But now, we're all the way to her chest level, and that's insane growth spurt right there. And, well, for me, in my book, this is not a downgrade. This is an upgrade. It's a severe upgrade in all cases, and, well, let's be for real. She's really thick, she's really muscular, and she's really tall. Those three categories mixed into one gets really overwhelming, and at this point, this is just perfect, alright? It's not too over-exaggeration where it's just so ridiculous and unmanageable, but this right here, this was really well-balanced and well-toned and perfect, honestly. So, at that point, I don't think we can even care for her other behalf, which is the demon part, but I'll like to say she's more like a reptile, so a dragon, regardless, however she's supposed to be as. This is insane, alright? Her physique alone and her figure is outstanding and just near perfection, okay? There's no way in hell you can't tell me won't smash, honestly. And no way in hell will anyone pass up the opportunity. And by all means, this is a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot, yeah. And now we can actually go talk to her personality behavior half now, because like always, just from the path of the adversary, the Eye of the Needle is more physical than ever, so be prepared for a lot of, physical intercourse and stuff like that aligned, because like the adversary, you're going to get bruises and probably a broken limb or two, but the Eye of the Needle will just make that severely worse, honestly. And with that being said, I think you're going to die, honestly, and there's no way in hell you're coming back from this. And if you do, you'll probably be crippled, honestly, because if you look at her figure and her sheer strength, she's going to crush your bones. And this is worse than just having a broken limb or two or a bone. She's breaking them into fragments, and this is going to hurt. The definition of a crush pelvis, honestly, here, so yeah. That's what I feel about this, and regardless, this is still 100% doable, but yeah, just taking the fact too where she's pretty violent and pretty physical is something you gotta look out for, and I guess try not to die, honestly. Yep, that's insane. So shit. Yeah. I'm sorry, I can't get over the fact that she's this crazy, and it is very doable, honestly. I can see it happening at work, and like I said, you're probably going to die 100%, but it's worth the journey, alright? It's worth the trip. Even though it's just one way only, it's still worth it. Now, this next vessel we have here is called the Fury, and as you can tell from the image alone, the answer is quite obvious to it is a no, okay? This is an easy ass no, and there's no way in hell you're actually going to hit this, honestly, or any Smashable, or any possible means anyways, because just like, by purely looking at this image alone, I think I speak for majority of people too, it's just like, you can't do anything, okay? There's no way in hell you can do anything, and I'm pretty sure you can actually just tell by looking. Her dress is her skin, literally. She has no skin in her limbs. That's all just bone and muscles and blood and all. That's all it is, honestly, too. So, if you think about it, you are most likely doing something very forbidden, nasty, and disgusting all at once, and I'm pretty sure you're going to catch a disease or an infection. One of those two will happen, and yeah, I don't think you're gonna like that. Let's just be for real here. I don't think there's no way in hell you're gonna hit this, and by all means, it doesn't really help by who she is as well too, because for this one, she's pretty mad, alright? She's really pissed off, and she kind of hates her guts, honestly, so be wary of that, honestly, as well, and I don't think it matters what you do, because at this point, she's so mad that she can unravel your body, okay? When I see an unravel, I really mean she can unravel your skin. And that literally means peeling off your skin into layers of layers, and, well, your organs just comes out. It doesn't really matter how close she is, honestly, too. And I don't know how that works, but I feel like she has to be proximity range, and if you're not close enough, she can't do it. But whatever the trajectory range of this, the point still stands is that she can unravel your flesh. And when she unravels your flesh, well, everything just flies out. And I mean everything. So practically that means you're dead and you can't do anything regarding that at all. So yeah, you don't even live. At this point, there's no point in trying actually, and you're better off just passing, honestly. And I'd be surprised if you hit, honestly, too, because this doesn't make any sense. This is some weird level of shit if you still hit, honestly, and who knows? Maybe you're into this weird shit, and by all means, this is hella forbidden, honestly. It's really creepy, but then still, there's a chance, you know, because actually, for this one, once she gets past her rage, she does become a little bit more truthful to herself and more honest to you, and honestly, it's okay, you know? After through all that bloodshed and shit too, she does really want to be, you know, better in a sense too in cases, so maybe that's a good thing, bad thing, I don't know. You can calm her down, honestly, and depending how you take this, I think she'd be most likely appreciative. But then, regardless, the fact still stands, you can't actually do anything to her, so yeah, that's an easy as no, and regardless, even if she's calmed down, at least you got a friend, honestly. I mean, you're still wounded, okay? Your body's still just tormented, honestly, too. So, there's still that, but regardless, this is the easy as no, and I'm pretty sure this is, like, not even favorable in all cases at all. So, don't bother, don't try it, and by all means, don't even think about attempting this at all. For the next vessel we have here is the Polythesis, and for the Polythesis, she became a goddess, and when she became a goddess, she's a giant goddess, and well, you can probably tell that the question would be how Smashable is 100%, but if we look in realistic terms, that's an easy no. You can't, actually. It's impossible and impractical for how small we are and how big she is. With that being said, she's actually really good looking, okay? Her figure is outstanding and it's really well built here, and while slim and still tough and up, you know, buff and muscular and right spaces and such too. Whereas, it's not really a problem, and regardless how the fact is, she's actually still good looking. Despite her being the giant size and all that, she's really good looking. Now, I just want to talk about her face a little bit here too, where it's really well defined, honestly, and to the fact where it just fits the perfection of a goddess, honestly, and, you know, the naming of the Polythesis, it's just really fitting, and I like it, honestly. It's not that bad. But still, regardless how fitting this may be, or however good it is, or however good she looks, honestly, it's still impossible and practical for her. She is pretty damn big, you know, pretty small, and no matter what happens, nothing will occur or actually efficiently happens here, which is the downfall side of the Polythesis. Unless she can scale herself down to smaller size, then yeah, maybe it's possible, but so far as I'm concerned, she can't. And rather, you can't as well too, because I know that you can do some crazy shit here, honestly, because whatever happens here, you can do something here, but at this case, in realistic terms, you can't. So, with that being said, it's actually nice to have someone like her, but regardless, in realistic terms, it's actually impossible, and no way in hell actually good will come from this, because, honestly, let's be for real here. I don't think you will feel anything, nor will she feel anything from this, and it's just not even a good sensation or worth trying because the size difference is too great. But hey, it's all hope worth thinking, honestly. If you can figure out a way, well, be my guest. Be my guest. Now, this next vessel is called the Princess and the Dragon, and for this one, it's a little bit confusing. So the question is, how smashable would this vessel be? And I'll have to say this: she's just a regular princess at this stage, okay? At this stage, she's a regular princess. Nothing has changed. Nothing has become anything bewildering or anything, honestly. And on a realistic term, the way this vessel was supposed to be as, you are inside of her. Your whole soul, let's just say that, is inside of this princess. And this princess here, is able to interact with you as you're in her, and as you can see here, you have your other body out there interacting with the princess in the real world, while your soul is actually inside the princess. But if you put this on a realistic term, how this would actually work or function, this is where it really just gets confusing, and it doesn't really make any sense, and I don't know what to say, honestly, too. So, by all means, sure, it's doable, but if there's a rule between the soul linking and stuff like that, I'll have to say that might be a big problem, because the way it works, if you inflict pain on her, or pain is inflicted on her, your soul goes back to your body. But if something's inflict pain back to you, or the body, your soul goes back into her. Which is kind of weird. It's a two-way connection that both of them cannot feel pain. If they feel pain, you get immediately transported to the other host. And that's how that works. But regardless, it doesn't really make any sense to as how is this even possible. So if that rule is there, then it's impossible. But if the rule doesn't exist or doesn't fit into this type of setting or situation, then sure, maybe she is, and she's just some regular princess, honestly, by all means. But regardless, there's not enough context to actually declare a final decision on this princess or vessel here, honestly, which is kind of sad, but that's just what we have with here. For this next vessel, it's called the Raft, and she is an undead thing, honestly. I don't know what exactly she is, because she is a skeleton and somewhat fleshy, honestly, I guess we can call it. I don't know what the hell we would call this, but regardless, she's an undead. Maybe that's just what she is, honestly, not entirely into a specific species or whatsoever, but regardless, her figure is kind of weird because her lower half, it's all bones, while her upper half still have some little bit of flesh here and there, and some of her assets are still there too. But disregarding that fact right there, it's still kind of weird that she still have some flesh there, and they're all I don't know, rotted, honestly, we can say. And as you can tell from her face as well, that's all just bones, honestly, and some little bit skin, some other stuff. There's a little bit there and here, and regardless, the fact still remains that she's an undead. So by doing this and how smashable she is, this is necrophilia, and honestly, I don't think this is even possible for the lower half, but for the upper half, maybe, just maybe, okay? Something may work out here, and by all means, this is kind of freaky, honestly, too. So let's just be for real here, and I'll just tell you this straight up. This is next level shit, honestly, of freakiness, and it just gets crazier and crazier as the things proceed. And by all means, I don't think you should at all cases do this or bother to try this, because like I said, this is undead. She's an undead being, and it doesn't even help how vengeful she is and how angry that she actually are. So if you're willing to, honestly, I think she might just possess your body and just, to take your life, honestly. Or she might just rip through you because you're in her way. But regardless, however this one proceeds, you may be able to get some sort of something or a reward, honestly. But I don't think it matters, because regardless however you perceive this, she's going to kill you, she's going to go through you, and I think your chances of survival are pretty slim, honestly. But hey, it's all up to you, honestly. Now, the next best we have here is the Moment of Clarity. Moment of Clarity is the exact same thing as the Nightmare, but you can actually touch her. And you won't actually die as well, too. So, in this case, this is actually smashable, and you're actually able to do stuff with her this time, unlike the Nightmare, who kills you by a single touch or her presence. for the moment of clarity, she's more stable and unstable in so hundreds of levels, honestly. And it's just kind of gets crazy how she works and functions because, for starters, she doesn't have a head, so it's just a floating hole. And her limbs, she has multiple arms. However, they're not attached, and they're just gloves, honestly, and they're physical. So it's just like they actually have a, matter, honestly, and you can still grab it and grip it. And by all means, I don't know how that works because, for starters, you can't see them. All right, her arms are there, but they're more like implements, and they don't really exist. But who knows? I'm not sure they're invisible or not, too. And let's be for real, her figure is still the same. Nothing changed. Well, she's still a spirit, so prepare for the body to be probably cold, honestly, and overall, no head. So, good luck with the imagination of your mind with however you're going to feel with her, like, literally, a whole missing head. That's just a hole. And I should also state, too, she does have a mask, honestly, as well, where it's glass, and that thing shattered, honestly. It shattered as you proceed through this, character, and it really just becomes nothing more as you proceed, and it just disappears. So there's no face. You just get her, multiple limbs, floating limbs I should say, a spirit body, and just a giant hole for a head. And yeah, exactly, that's what you get for the moment of clarity. And there really isn't much to say here, but you actually still able to do things. Is kind of crazy though. I know that for a fact. The next vessel here is the Den, and for the Den, she's an upgrade from the Beast. And she really inverted from her animal side, actually, too. So she's now more of a, I guess it's what they call a chimera now. She's a subspecies of a lion, human, and you, honestly, because she did eat you to become like this. And she's bigger, honestly. Much more bigger. Probably twice her size, and she grew 2 sets of claws and a wing on her back, too. And maybe some horns, too, honestly. I don't know where the hell that came from, but maybe something she ate. But regardless, she got big, okay? She's bigger, and now she lost the mean to communicate with you, so purely by this, she's all instinct, honestly. And she's going to go all primal on you, and like any other animal would. If you stumble into a territory, they're most likely going to fight you and kill you and eat you first, and never ask questions, honestly. But still, despite her fierce nature, the question still stands. Is this still smashable? Now, that's a hard question to ask too, because in many realistic cases, you can't, because she'll eat you and hunt you down, but there is a chance, though. That's the thing. A slight chance that you could. And regardless how you take that chance, maybe. And I say a maybe because that really depends on how you approach her and how do you behave towards her and if you can gain her trust. So maybe there might be some interaction, honestly, too. But regardless, that's kind of fucking weird and freaky at this sense too, and past beyond furry level, honestly. And I don't know. Exactly. Just like the Beast, the same situation still applies. Are you really gonna go this far for her and this far for animal, honestly, too? And she's more animal than ever than the Beast, honestly, because, like I said, she does communicate, so this is entirely up to you and how you ever want to do with her or proceed with this, but by all means, all I can say is, good luck. If you like this stuff, go do it, and don't die, honestly. Don't try to get eaten. Now, this next Vestal was called the Wild, and as for the Wild, she's kind of like Mimir, and if you don't know who Mimir is, he's from the Greek mythology and such too, and he's just some old guy who's pretty wise and shit, stuck inside a tree. And if you think of the Mimir here, that's exactly what the Wild is. She's exactly like Mimir, but worse, in a sense too, if you understand that. Because, for starters, she doesn't have a lower half. She's only arms up to her elbow, and torso with her heart sticking out and a head. So yeah, that's basically her body, honestly. And it doesn't help too that she's glued to the tree as well, so like you can't really do anything unless you cut her out, and I know you can in this case, and it's still not a good sight to see, honestly. And overall, it doesn't hurt her if you cut her out, so that's like a good thing too. And most likely there really isn't any con, but maybe not, honestly. Her physique alone is kind of questionable and dangerous and not favorable in many means and cases, but regardless, she's okay. She's alright. She's not really a bad person. She's just kind of broken, honestly, too, and wants to be better and all that stuff, too. But regardless of her personality, it's her physique that's the main problem, where she's just a head and a torso, and by all means, she's just there, and I don't know how that works, honestly. So the question of Smashable is question, honestly. The irony of that situation is just weird and funny overall, but that's what the Wild is, honestly, too. Just a head with some small arms and torso with only a heart, so I'm guessing you can only imagine one thing you could do, and you know what I'm talking about, honestly, here, too. But regardless, the thing is just like, it's just that, honestly, and it's kind of fucked up, too, just to do that, so probably a no, honestly. I'll probably say a no, but still, yes. But it would be rude, honestly, so I'll have to say no. The next vessel we have here is the Thorn, and for the Thorn, she is quite smashable. For her figure, it's pretty decent built, pretty average, and as you can probably tell, honestly, too, she is covered in thorns. From her toes all the way to her head, she has thorns all over her body. It kind of like circles around her, but the most thorny area will be around her chest cavity area, where it's just like, she doesn't really have, a shirt or anything to cover her top area, and it's just all thorns, honestly, so imagine the pain that she gets that every day, so yeah. She's practically bleeding every now and then, and there's probably going to be a lot of blood, honestly. Just a lot of scratch marks, wounds, honestly, but nothing too serious that she'd die from it, but regardless, she's going to bleed, and however you proceed through this, you may bleed as well by just merely touching her, and just little pokes here and there too, but nothing too crazy or like dangerous enough to get you killed, honestly, in this case here. But regarding her physique, we gotta talk more about her behavior, honestly, her personality. For this one, she's very cautious, so you gotta be like, you gotta win over her. You gotta get her to trust you to, well, practically do anything. If she doesn't trust you, she's going to be very cautious, takes things slowly, and if you rush too fast or do anything unexpected, she will put up a wall and block you, honestly, and prevent you from furthering, honestly, and depending on that terminology right there, you may or may not be stuck in that stage forever, honestly, and kind of defeats the purpose. So at that point, you just got to be careful how you proceed, and if you're not prepared or you do anything too weird for her, or she just doesn't like it in general, she will put up a wall. So that's the only thing to take note of, and also the thorns as well, but that's not really a serious issue, honestly, too. It's just a few wounds, honestly. You won't die from it unless you get an infection, of course. But regardless, that's the Thorn. Very cautious, and you may bleed a little bit. But once you get through that stage and you get her to trust you, it's all good there. It's all a smooth sail, honestly. The next vessel we have here is the Cage. And the Cage is a special case for which it stands where it doesn't really make any sense how the princess is still alive at this point where, like, she beheaded herself. And when she beheaded herself, she should have died, but she didn't. So, with that being said, how's the question for, like, how smashable is not possible. Yep, straight up not possible because she already died, and being beheaded does not even help the case. And since there's no special rules or how this functionality works or, happens at all, it's just not even possible or actually anything to deal with and we can work with here because for many cases, they didn't really state how was this possible or I don't like to say anything real enough to actually be fair game, but with that being said, the cage is impossible, it's not smashable, and despite that, if there was a special rule, maybe, but since there is no rules here or anything like that in the line, it's just some, I don't know, beheaded princess, sadly enough, it's not possible to smash her. For this next vessel, we have the Grey, and for the Grey, she's a ghost, and like the Spectre, you can actually do stuff with her, however, she won't let you. That's probably due to more to her behavior and personality behalf. But for starters, I should let you know, there's two different versions of the Grey. There's one that's very suicidal, and there's the other who's very vengeable. And whenever path you take, or however you proceed this, just be cautious, because you will die in either path, regardless what happens. And, well, more or less, it's gonna suck. So, starting with the first one we have here, and this one's more the suicide one, honestly. She's very suicidal, and that's probably because you did kind of confuse her with that. So that's kind of more on your fault, or if you want to put it in other terms, she's like crazy about that type of love language. I don't know if we can call that. That's like a weird subject, honestly, and that's like a whole different matter of stuff we can talk about, but I won't because I don't understand one single shit about that. And regardless, she will kill herself with you, and she'll bring you with her. It don't matter how she will does it, and it's just out of pure love for each other. And I guess this is the only way she can show her emotion at this point. So yeah, that's all I gather from this version here. You don't really go further because you kind of die really fast once you meet her, so there really isn't much to say for this type of gray version here. Now we gotta talk about the other version of the gray, and this one, she's kind of weird, okay? For many cases, if we're just going to talk about herself as alone, she might just kill you on the spot, honestly. Regardless, however this happens or how this occurs, I think she might just put you down because you're just in her way, and she just continue moving forward. And if you do bother her and something does happen and you manage to get to like some sort of arrangement or agreement here, I think she might just lead to a trap and kill you right there, because that's kind of what she does here. And knowing her, I think that's her plan. I don't think she really want to do anything about you, and just you might just piss her off, so she might just kill you right here on the spot and just be done with it. So yeah, that's the gray for you. And this one's kind of tough because, like I said, you do die pretty fast in this vessel path here, and you can't really do much about it. So it's kind of like one and done. That's it. I kind of wish there was more you can work with, but with so much limited information that I have here, this is all I can do for the moment. And I think that's practically it for the gray, honestly, because you can't really explore this section. I should probably mention that too, where it's unexplorable. It's just very direct and linear, and like I said, with the information that I gather and I have, there's nothing I could do more about this. And they're also not very talkative in a sense too, or cooperative. There's just like absolutely nothing. So yeah, that's also a big problem I should have mentioned earlier too, but better late than never, honestly. So regardless, impossible and smashable, not doable. In many cases, you die 100%. And if you're still willing to, I don't know what's wrong with you. Yeah, that's a good question, honestly. What is wrong with you? For the final vessel here, and last but not least, it is the Happily Ever After. Now, this is one of the own unique characters because you don't get a chapter for this. I should say you get an epilogue. So I don't know, that really cares for some people, honestly, too. So it's like kind of awkward too, but that's just how it is. And regardless, the case of how Smashable, and this one's a honestly easy yes, 100%. You're agreeable, yeah, and there really isn't a lot of bad things. There's like no bad things unless you take the shadow to accountants, where it's kind of like watching you, so he might watch you when you exactly. I think he might watch you as you smash her and proceeds to give you a hand of applause, honestly, because he's kind of like a wingman, but I guess more weird wingman, where he's very directive, what you do and such too, and kind of more manipulative and force you to do his way, that you guys should be together, honestly. And I guess that's like the only bad thing I could say, honestly. And maybe here too, but if you really want to be a nice person, and I actually mean this, if you take consideration to the princess herself, she may not actually want to do this. She only does this because she thinks this is what she has to do. It's what she has to be as, and her job, honestly, and her role. But as you proceed through further, you can make her break this illusion of what she's supposed to do. And unlike the damsel, she doesn't just break down mentality. I mean, she does break down, but she breaks down like a normal human, honestly. And she does have her own lifestyle she wants to do, and things she'd rather do than whatever she's been doing her whole life, honestly, at this case. So I think this is more like a fever to fantasy dream, honestly, of a typical princess slash person slash, all those type of fantasy shit nonsense slash whatever those things are. That's basically what this whole case is for Happily Ever After, and it's not bad, alright? It's pretty good, and overall, like I said, it's not really horrible, honestly. This is more like a plus plus for either side. So yeah, so in that case, you might even get the highly beneficial or just good enough to be up there, honestly. But I think people would like, prefer the higher beneficial one where you actually help her as a, princess and help her grow, and it just becomes better and better. It just gets so much better than whatever the hell it was before. I mean, before it's okay, but I'm pretty sure we can know that you can all do better, honestly, and for the sake of her, do it, because I think it will help her more than ever than whatever the hell that's been happening in her life so far, honestly, if you put that in realistic terms. And overall, I think that's what makes this pretty, good about her, honestly, and there really isn't anything bad for her. Nothing has been wrong with her, and there's no bad thing at all. So this is like one of the rare vessels where it is just doable, and there's no problems at all, and this is something you would honestly enjoy and like. So it's kind of funny that she's the very last vessel, honestly, too, and that's the pure irony of the situation, where how Smashable, and she is the 100% guaranteed best option to smash with, and probably the most effective one out there. And when I mean effective, I don't mean, you know what I mean. I mean, you're actually able to get something meaningful out of this, and it's something that will actually heal your body and spirit, honestly, or something like that, honestly. It just makes you feel better, honestly, as a person, and overall, it's just really helpful, Instead of like the other vessels where it's just like one and done gig, and it's good or bad, or just feels good or feels weird or just too creepy and shit. This one's just generally what it's supposed to be, honestly, and how, healthy, and if you want to look in a real case, this is what everyone strives for, honestly. I mean, well, not everyone, but, the terminology that we look for or define as, or the ideal situation, honestly, here. And, well, I can't say that I hate it, honestly. She is one of the best vessels out there, too, and it's just very fitting to help her, honestly. And if you did kill her, I think you just did it for fun and just a one-time thing, honestly. But if you kill her just for the heck of it and whatever reason, god damn, you're really one son of a bitch. I'm sorry, but it's just like, how can you kill her, man? It's like, I get it, you can kill the other vessels, but her? Damn, that sucks. I know you have to do it for the trophy, honestly, and that's what I have to do, and it's only a fair game for the trophy. And if you're just exploring and fuck around and misclick, sure, I get it too. But regardless, I'm talking too much with her, and I gave her too much clout, and overall, I should have done that, but I think it's fine. Alright, it's fine for her. It's okay for her, because she's the last vessel for this one section here, and like I said, she's probably the perfect one. Actually, the most perfect and suitable for anyone, actually, in cases, so if I have to say that, honestly. And overall, pretty smashable, yeah. Despite what I just said and what you hear my opinions about her, well, she's pretty smashable, yeah. And it's not the type, to be done with. It's something you would grow from, too, so it only gets better. That's all I'm trying to say here. It only gets better as you proceed with this vessel here, and it just gets so much better as you just move forward, and you won't regret it. I know you won't. You won't regret this one. Alright, that's it for this video here. If you like that one, you can still go check out the baddest vessel that I want to have. And I'm surprised if you still haven't watched it, because I did mention it 3 times already, and you still haven't checked it out. It's kind of crazy. But regardless, I think you like that one as much as you like this one if you did. And if you still haven't subscribed, please do so. It'll help me out as much as I can, and I'll appreciate it if you do. But I'm not going to force you. And regardless, that's it. I'm going to still make more videos of this, honestly. There's still some other ideas that I have in mind, and just because I have a weird fixation for this game. I mean, I love it. It's really fun. I enjoyed every second of it. So keep an eye out for that, and I'll let you guys go now.